crime, decrypted news, social historical, decrypted. Welcome to the Ripple Code channel.
All right, true crime fans, buckle up, because this deep dive is going to take us straight to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We're going deep into the murder of Jack Rains. And, well, we've got news clippings, court documents. Let's just say this one's got more twists and turns than a country road.
It's a case that reminds us that truth can be a lot stranger than fiction.
You've got that right. So picture this. It's 2007, Jack Rains, 83 years old, former state trooper, found murdered in his own home, execution style.
On the surface, it might seem like an open and shut case.
Right, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
But the deeper investigators dug, the more they uncovered a story of, well, let's just say, a tangled web of relationships and secrets.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. Who was Jack Rains? Paint us a picture of his life before his murder.
Jack Rains, he was a respected figure in his community, former state trooper, even served as police chief, owned property, had a decent income from his retirement.
Sounds like he had his life pretty put together.
He did, mostly. But there was one sad part. His wife was in a nursing home, suffering from dementia. And that's where Tina Williamson enters the picture.
Tina Williamson, right. The friend who found his body, the one who swore up and down that they were just friends.
Exactly. But of course, rumors started swirling, whispers from neighbors about a possible romantic relationship, something Tina denied vehemently. Even Rains' own family, they started noticing a distance growing between them and Jack. They had their suspicions about Tina's influence.
Ah, so there's already a whiff of suspicion in the air. Did the investigators pick up on that right away?
They did, especially when they began looking into the financial ties between Rains and Williamson. They had this shared bank account for a car flipping business. And after Rains was killed, Tina, she didn't waste any time. Tried to withdraw a large sum of money. We're talking $100,000.
Whoa, hold on. $100,000. That's not exactly chump change.
Not at all. And on top of that, Rains owned a duplex. Guess who was in line to inherit it?
Let me guess. Tina?
You got it.
Okay, so now we're talking about motive. A big one. But did they have any solid evidence connecting Tina to the murder itself?
At first, no. The crime scene itself was a head-scratcher. Multiple gunshots to the back of the head, clearly not some random act of violence. But no sourced entry, nothing seemed to be stolen, made it seem very, well, personal.
So things aren't looking too good for Tina, especially with the money trail. But it's still circumstantial at this point, right? What was the turning point, the thing that blew the case wide open?
It was a seemingly insignificant detail, the kind of thing that might get overlooked. Remember, Tina's whole story rested on her being just a friend and business partner.
What?
When the police searched her house, they found a Mercedes title, and it looked like it had bloodstains on it.
Wait, are you serious? Whose blood was it?
Jack Rains.
Whoa! Talk about a smoking gun. Or, I guess, a bloody car title in this case.
It certainly changed the game. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about betrayal on a whole other level. And that discovery, it sent the investigation in a whole new direction. Finding that bloodstained title, well, it really threw a wrench in Tina's story. How could she explain that away?
She was sticking to her alibi, right? Said she was miles away in Woodbury, nowhere near Jack's house on the day he died.
Oh, she stuck to it all right. But the police, they weren't just going to take her word for it. So they dug a little deeper, checked her phone records.
What'd they find? Was she telling the truth?
Let's just say technology can be a fickle friend. The phone records showed her phone pinging off cell towers near Jack's house around the time of the murder.
No way. So much for being miles away.
Exactly. And it gets even juicier. See, they weren't just looking at tower locations. They were looking at every call she made that day. And one call really stuck out. A call to a woman named Betty Olson. Right around the time her phone put her at the crime scene.
Okay, this is getting good. Who is Betty Olson, and what does she know?
Betty was a friend of Tina's. And when the police paid her a little visit, well, she gave them a very interesting piece of information. Admitted to picking Tina up that day.
Yeah.
Not far from Jack Rains' house.
Hold on. So they've got Tina practically on the doorstep of a murder scene. But did Betty actually see anything suspicious?
Well, according to Betty, Tina was acting pretty strange that day. Nervous, agitated, even had what looked like blood on her clothes.
Wait, did she just come right out and say she thought Tina was involved?
Not in so many words. Tina apparently brushed it off, said it was just ketchup or something. But the police, they weren't buying it. They had a feeling Betty knew more than she was letting on, but was hesitant to, throw her friend under the bus.
So what did they do? Offer her a deal?
They took a gamble. Asked Betty if she'd be willing to wear a wire, you know, have a conversation with Tina while they listened in.
Wow, talk about high stakes. Did she go for it?
She did. And that decision, well, it changed everything. Because during that recorded conversation, Tina's practically begging Betty to keep quiet, telling her to tell the police she doesn't remember anything about that day, especially not the so-called ketchup stain.
Oof, not a good look for Tina. It's like they say, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. But even with all of this, did they have enough to actually charge her with murder?
The phone records, the bloody car title, now this recorded conversation. The pieces were starting to fall into place. But the final nail in the coffin, the thing that blew Tina's whole story out of the water, well, that came from the lab.
The DNA results, they finally got them.
And they were conclusive. Remember how adamant Tina was that she and Jack were just friends? No romance whatsoever.
Oh yeah, she hammered that point home.
Well, the DNA told a very different story. They found Tina's DNA on Jack Rain's boxer shorts.
You're kidding. There's just no explaining that away.
Nope. It put her at the scene of the crime, in his house, in a way she couldn't deny. And that's when the walls really started closing in on Tina Williamson.
So what happened next? What did she do when she was confronted with all this evidence? So they've got her DNA, phone records, that wiretap. What did Tina do?
Well, when the truth finally caught up with her, Tina Williamson's story, well, it all fell apart.
Yeah, hard to maintain that innocent friend act with all that evidence stacked against you.
Exactly. In February 2009, she had her day in court. Big trial. Really captivated the whole town of Murfreesboro. And the verdict, guilty. Tina Williamson was convicted of murdering Jack Rains.
Wow. Guilty. Can you imagine being in her shoes in that moment, knowing the jig is up, you're caught?
And for Jack Rains' family, it didn't bring him back, but at least there was some sense of justice, some closure. But it's got to be tough, right? Knowing someone you welcomed into your life, someone you trusted, could do something like that.
It's a scary thought. Really makes you wonder, huh? Things aren't always what they seem.
It makes you question everything, doesn't it? How can someone seem so normal, so trustworthy on the surface,
Yeah.
but underneath be capable of something so cold-blooded?
Exactly. And you know what's even more disturbing? If those investigators hadn't kept digging, hadn't followed every lead, Tina Williamson, she might have gotten away with
It's
it.
often those little things, right? The smallest details. They seem insignificant at first, but they build up. They paint a picture, a bloodstained car title here, a phone call there.
Yeah.
That's what tripped her up in the end.
It's enough to make you paranoid. What other secrets are lurking out there just waiting to be uncovered? Make you think twice about who to trust, that's for sure.
Right. And it makes you wonder what tiny detail, something we might overlook in our own lives, could be the key to unlocking a mystery.
Chilling thought. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive. But hey, listeners, as you go about your day, remember Jack and Tina's story. Things aren't always what they seem. Pay attention, trust your gut, and maybe think twice about lending out your Mercedes.
And never, ever underestimate the power of a single, seemingly small detail. It can bring down even the most elaborate lie.
Truer words have never been spoken. That's all for today, folks. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe.